Hey, welcome back to the channel. This video is about the new version of Terraform 1.11 that just came out, and a couple of features, the main one being write-only arguments. I'll explain what they are. I'll do a quick demo in the form of a code comparison, and then we'll examine the state files, which should reveal if this new feature is actually working or not. So, just a quick recap. In the previous version of Terraform 1.10, it introduced something called ephemeral values, and this is a secure way to handle secrets. The idea is, being ephemeral, they're only temporarily there while you need them, and they're not persisted in the plan or the state file. The problem is with ephemeral values in version 1.10 is that it had limited use. You couldn't use them in resources such as a database password. You could only use them mostly in provider blocks. So now with Terraform 1.11 they fixed this, which I'm really surprised. I actually wasn't expecting this. It kind of looked like they weren't going to do it actually in terms of clues, but it looks like they have done it. Can now use ephemeral values in resources, and you can do that by some other new feature called write-only arguments. These are arguments on selected resources. So there is support for several resources within AWS, Azure, GCP, and also Kubernetes and Helm. It's not every resource, but it's a select few such as databases, etc. So that's what I'm going to use for this demo. We're going to do a code comparison between the old way and the new way, and then we're going to examine the state files to see if the secret has been persisted or not. Let's take a look. Okay, so for the purpose of this demo, what I've done is create two directories, one called old, one called new, and inside put a single terraform.tf file. And the old is on the left here, the new is on the right. We're going to do a comparison. They're pretty similar. The first part is the provider, that's the same for both, just has the region. And then we have here, let's look at the old. We've got a resource, AWS DB instance, and in here just some basic minimum info that's needed. The key here is this part here. For the admin password, it's just called password. Actually, I've changed this to let me in, it should say, but anyway, it's just a simple plain text, right? Now if you look at the new way, first of all we use this thing that was introduced in the previous Terraform version called an ephemeral resource, and this is one called random password, and it will only, because it's ephemeral, it will only persist as long as it's needed. It won't be there in the state or the plan. It's only on the fly, so to speak. It'll generate a random 16-digit password. Now in the resource, the AWS DB instance, which is just an RDS instance again, everything here is the same except for the password. Instead of password, we've got this password WO, which is the write only that we were referring to. By the way, the reason we've got all these red lines is because the plugin for VS Code isn't yet updated with this new feature in the latest version of Terraform. So it thinks it's an error. It's not an error. So this password WO is coming from the earlier resource ephemeral.randomdbpassword.dbpassword. It's as simple as that. If I scroll to the right, .result. And another feature is that it also supports password versioning as well. So the first one can be 1, and then you can increment them going forward. That is the only difference, just really the password configuration, and of course in the new way you do also have a dependency on creating this ephemeral resource first. So let's see what the net result is. Okay, so we're at the terminal. Now I've already created the instances in both cases because it takes 5 minutes and there's really no point in you watching. There's nothing there to learn. What we're going to do, we're going to look at the end result. So we're in the parent directory at the moment, and I'm going to do a cat of old/terraform.tf state and grep it for the phrase password. I'm going to do the same for the one in new as well, and separate them with a single blank line. That's why I put echo. The reason I'm doing this is, one, we don't have to scroll all the way through the Terraform state file, and also there's some sensitive information in there such as like my AWS account number that I don't want to reveal. We only need this to see what we want to compare the two. So I'm going to press enter now, and you can see here we go. Now there's some differences. So for example, in the first one you've got the password in the state file is showing in plain text, please let me in. In the second one it says null, and that's actually because we didn't use that feature. In the second one, for password WO, it actually says null, which kind of surprised me. I thought maybe it might say something there, not actually reveal the password, but perhaps say populated or something like that. But that's not the way it works. But the way it works, it says here, look, you can see that it's using version 1. Now obviously the old way, it just shows null null because we haven't used that feature there. And then the rest is pretty similar except for this part here, this dependency, the ephemeral.randompassword.dbpassword. Now, one other kind of side note is that you may notice here we've got this manage master user password. By sheer coincidence, this came up. We're not using this. This is actually when you want to use AWS Secrets Manager, the integration between RDS and AWS Secrets Manager, and it's actually a key-based kind of auth. So there is actually an example of using WO on the Terraform website that uses Secrets Manager, but it doesn't actually use the key-based management system, which is actually superior. So if you want, you can go there and you can look at a slightly different example, but in my opinion, it's not the best way to do it. Here, what we've done is we've shown that the password, the old way, is exposed in the state file, and the new way, if you're using this write-only password, it doesn't show. And that is the main thing that we wanted to see, so that's awesome. Well, this was a very quick video, and that's literally all I wanted to show you. Please go ahead and go find out for yourself more. I do encourage you. I think a lot of people are going to start using this particular new feature. If you haven't already, please give this video a like, subscribe to the channel. We're almost at 200 subs, almost 100 videos. Really would appreciate your support. It's fantastic to have it. I will see you again soon for another cool video. Take care. Bye-bye.